So today we're gonna learn how to calculate two formulas. Work and power. Goes again.
It's not like right.
Which have you gave me?
I gave you two. We will remember.
Oh, I need to hand back lab paper.
So technically, how long is this
I
class?
can't say that because my battery fell out.
Technically, how long is this class?
It's an hour research on that. You got an hour left to go.
How long is a regular?
You're all the same. So that may take like an hour. It's not all the same one.
Well, first of all, I didn't know. Yes.
Yeah, I forgot to hand back these lab papers. Let me do that. What time is Springwood in? What time is what? About 12:10.
What's that, 12:10?
And the first one, take your hood off, turn your music off, take your earbuds out. And that's Shirley's over there, Mark is here.
Hello?
I know you're not taking a phone call in the middle of class.
Right, no, it's one of those trip advisor people. You want to talk to my teacher?
What would you gonna
You're going to tell her, stop calling me and take that number off your phone. But because it's a different number every time.
Oh, yeah. So
Oh, man, what?
That's what I do. Right, it's no point in life. Hey, let's go.
okay. Okay, me.
It means I wasn't crazy about the answer, but I didn't take off for it.
So you.
All right, Nicole.
Hey, I got 100.
I forgot to put mine. Oh, no, I didn't write it.
If I didn't, then you'll cry me later.
That's what now. Grace.
What the heck?
Wait, what is that?
I got a question, Grace.
Eric's not here.
Oh.
Which one do you want?
That's ours.
Oh, it's supposed to be 9.8. For all of them.
What? Which one do you want?
It's supposed to be
Oh my.
9.8 for all of them. And then we're supposed to time it. This one.
I got an 85.
You're supposed to write which one landed first.
No, we did.
That's why. Well, where, okay, tell me where we're going to get the answer.
9.8. Maybe the top part.
I understand this,
I
but
got 9.8.
what happens is yours is, it's already in that category.
Because we always give us our numbers. See how they wrote it? Like that?
Yeah, that's weird.
And that back there to be ambiance.
It's going to be 9.8. Because that's.
I got that
If
right.
you write a number, it gets a unit for future reference. All right, that takes care of those. That's marked out. Did I hand it to the wrong person? Wait, what's mine? 100. Handed it to the wrong person.
Oh. So I got a picture of it.
All right.
Ha ha.
All right, does everybody have their papers? Now, if you're missing a lab, missing a test or whatnot, I'll be here this afternoon and tomorrow afternoon. I know that you're disappointed you didn't get a delay or what have you. It's going to rain today and tomorrow, so if you want to stay, I will be here. If you don't, that's fine too. Now, we talked about this yesterday. What is work? Force that acts through distance. So I gave you several verbs that we could look for today to know if work is done. What were some of those verbs I gave you yesterday?
Push, pull, or
All right, push, pull, throw. Another one you could use that I didn't write down yesterday is like lift, okay? So we wrote down things like pushing a lawnmower, throwing a baseball, pulling a wagon, anything like that. Now, I used an example that I did not write down that is not doing work. And I said, did you have any small children or small cousins or siblings and carrying them? If you've ever carried a small child anywhere, you know, after a while, your arms start to feel how? Tired, sore, weak. All right? You would all probably tell me that that is work. But, are you done?
Yes.
Oh,
she said she was.
all right. I didn't hear you. So, after you've done that, most of us would say we've done work. But according to the science definition, we haven't. Now, there are specific conditions that we need to do work. So what are these conditions? Okay? I'll put the pen. There it is. All right. So what are the conditions that are necessary to do work? Number one. All right. The force must move a distance. Okay, that's the first one. And a lot of times people forget this one. All right, so when I give you examples on the next test and you're trying to figure out if work is done, you need to remember that it has to move a distance. So if I make Joseph go to the weight room and he lays on the bench and he holds 200 pounds of weight over his head and he holds it for so long that he starts to sweat and his arms get weak, has he done any work?
No.
No, because what's he not doing with the weight? He's not moving them. If he doesn't lift the weights up and down and moves his arms, is he doing any work? No. Okay? Just holding the weights is not work. Okay? Now, the second condition is one that causes us the most grief in figuring out if work is done. All right? The force and the distance must be in a parallel direction. Okay? It must be in a parallel direction. All right? Does everybody know what the word parallel means for math class?
Not what you mean right now.
Okay? What?
Like not what you mean right now.
All right. And no, I didn't mean what force and distance meant with the examples, just what the word parallel means. Okay. All right. Does everybody have it? Yes, sir.
What do you mean?
I'm going to explain it. Everybody good with what I wrote? Can I turn to draw an example? Or do I need to wait? Oh. See, y'all are making me like me yawned. Yawning's contagious. All right, we there? Okay, so let's say to illustrate work being done. Anybody have a class fourth period that's upstairs?
Me?
Okay, so part of our lab that I'm hoping to do tomorrow is to climb some stairs. Okay, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how the weather holds. Right now, it's calling for 40% chance of rain in the afternoon. All right, it's going to be in the 50s. So as long as it's not raining hard or it's not raining, we can take 15 minutes and go outside. But if it is, we'll have to do it possibly Friday. Okay, now Markel is going to carry his book bag upstairs. Okay, so in order for Markel to do work when he climbs the stairs, All right, doesn't have a very big book bag, but he's got a book bag. All right, what direction is Markel going? It's going up. Okay, so his distance is up. Okay, now the second requirement is his force. All right, what direction is his force going to be? His force has to either be up or down. It has to be parallel. Well, what force will Markel have to deal with? What force is pulling on Markel? All right, we can talk about gravity. All right, gravity is pulling Markel down. Would his distance going up and his gravity pulling him down be parallel? Yes. So that's certainly going to be parallel. What other force does Markel have? What's he carrying? A book bag. What force does he have to use to carry the book bag? He's got to pull what direction on the book bag? Up. Okay? So he's got to use an upward force on the book bag. Because if he doesn't, what happens to the book bag if he doesn't hold it up? It falls. He drops it on the floor, right? So regardless, his distance up and his upward force on the book bag, or even the gravity force that Nigel mentioned, all of these forces are what to each other? Are they parallel? Yes. Okay. So Markel does work. Does that make sense? They're all parallel to one another. Now, what is not parallel to each other? All right. Suppose, does everybody have this?
Yep.
Suppose we talk about who's got a class down on the main hall during fourth period. Nigel and Malik raised their hands. Now, let's say we walk down the hallway. So Nigel and Malik are carrying their book bags. Okay? So they have an up force for their book bag. All right. And their distance is this way. Is their force and their distance going to be parallel? No. Okay? Because the force and the distance are not parallel, there is no work done. Okay? So, this is like an example of carrying a small child. In this case, we're going to our fourth period class. Malik's got a book bag that I'm convinced is just filled with snacks, but hopefully he's got some materials in there for fourth period. Nigel's got some stuff in his book bag over there. Okay? So they carry their stuff to fourth period down the main hall. Holding it up. Okay? Gravity's pulling it down. They're holding it up. It's an up-down force. But they're going which way? They're going straight. They're going forward. So they're going this way. The force is this way. Is that parallel? Is that parallel? No. So it's no work. Now, if you carry, you got any small siblings, brothers, sisters, cousins? Yeah, you ever have to carry them around? Wear you out, don't they? Feels like work, but are you doing any work? Yeah. Go to the science definition, are you doing any work? No. No. Now, how could Ureli be doing work carrying her brothers and sisters or cousins? If she lifts them, she can do work. Okay? If she lifts them off the floor and picks them up, that's work. Okay? Because she's moving them a distance, and that's up and down. If she does this, that's work. I don't recommend that. Okay?
I've done it.
One person.
With my nephew.
That force would be this way. The distance would be that way. That would be work. Okay?
Because gravity is pulling it down.
All right, yeah, but still, the force that Markel's talking about to move them from you to the other person, because the force that you're using at that point to move them from you to that person would still be the force. It would just be that direction.
So this
Okay?
So this would be work, right?
Lifting the pencil that direction, yes, that would be work. Because the distance is up and down and your force is up and down. So yes, that would be work. It's not much because there's not a lot of weight in that pencil, but yes, it would be work. Correct. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Now just walking around carrying it would be enough.
If you push something, would that be work?
Depends, but most of the time pushing something is a yes. Most of the time. There are very few instances I can think of that would be a no. So I said I would struggle to think of one where it would be a no. Okay? Because most of the time when you push, the direction you go is going to be the direction that your force is going to go. Okay? All right. So, how do we calculate work? Now, on your reference table, your formula is going to say W equals F, triangle, I think it used a capital F. I think it's a capital F, and it's a little d. So I'll write it the same way. Yep. All right. So what does a triangle mean again?
Correct.
What's a triangle mean?
That's what I tried.
Yes. All right. The triangle means if there are two distances, subtract. Okay? If there's only one distance, we do what? You just use it. Okay? You just plug it in and solve. Now, what does F stand for since we've just studied that? Force. So if F is force, what unit is the force going to be in? All right. D, we've done already this semester. So what does D stand for? Distance. Anybody remember its unit? Been a little bit since we did it, but does anybody remember its unit? Not miles, meters. All right. And W is a new one for us. All right. W is work. And it's a new unit. All right. This one is a Newton times a meter. And we can say a Newton meter, but nobody does. Okay. A Newton meter is a new unit for us. It's called a joule. Joule. We do not pronounce it as a joule. All right. We call it a joule, like those of you who wear jewelry. All right. And we abbreviate it as just a capital J. Okay. It's a joule. Huh? Oh, really? I put it on there? Must have been just looking for a wrong answer. Okay. But it's pronounced joule. Not that any of you would, use any of that. I know. Tobacco products are bad. You should not use them.
Tobacco products are bad. Do not use them.
Tobacco products.
Tabasco.
You. And
Hot sauce.
it's true.
All right. Everybody good?
Hold on, I'm disinfecting my phone. Do you know phones are like 10 times dirtier than a toilet seat?
Yes.
It's pretty nasty.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because we take it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then people be sleeping next to it. Man, that's nasty. So
I don't sleep next to mine. I don't put it in the bed. I don't put it beside the bed. I don't
Y'all
sleep with it.
with your phones on your bed?
Yes.
I mean, yeah,
You
one time I did cut it
Yeah.
off sleep. Don't cheat on it.
Look,
Like, let me see
See me
me.
like, oh,
Mine,
Alright.
I have a nice next to my bed. But like,
Now.
They'll sleep with it.
I gotta use
You
it
said it like you did, sir.
for a long.
I need to go to tomorrow, 'cause I ain't gonna wake up. I can hear it. We got an
I have
exam.
an alarm clock, not a phone. Why? I don't know. I guess because I'm 49 and I'm sort of old school.
I have an alarm clock.
My children use their phone as an alarm.
I got an alarm
I
clock,
have
but I
both.
don't
Feel
use
better.
the alarm. I just like use it so I can look over and see what time it is when I wake up at night.
Oh, that's a good idea. I use the alarm clock for that too.
You know what's crazy?
What's
If
crazy?
like all the clocks in the world stopped, right? Like they all stopped working. Like every single one of them, there was no way to tell the time. It would take forever to figure out what time it was. Like to get it back on track. Right? What did it take? What did it take a while? No, because they
you
got
can
like
use, if you use sundials and stuff.
all that's gone. All that is gone. Right?
It's
That's
the
Is
sun
the- is the
gone.
sun
When it's done.
Right, the sun
Yeah.
Now, the
But-
cloudy, then I.
But you do realize like, the sun comes up, you don't really know what time it is. Like, you don't have. That's what sundials do. Your shadow's gone. You
Damn,
fine,
do it,
bro.
guys.
All the clocks stop.
You just rush.
Figure it out, bro.
Alright.
Y'all figure out what time it is.
So,
I'm gonna stop all the clocks in the world too.
So if we look at this question, all right, those of you who have really good math skills, at this point, you've probably got the pattern and you don't need any practice. But for those people who are still struggling with the math, all right, and there are several of you, you don't have to raise your hands. All right. So when you get, I know you don't, and we won't do math the whole semester, but we do the front half of the semester with math.
What do you think? You say good math skills?
Huh?
You say good math skills?
Well, those of you at this point who can look at this and solve it without my help. And there are lots of you who can. Not for everybody.
I got it.
Not for everybody, Markel.
It's,
Okay.
It's just, you think about what we did before, you think about this.
Yeah, but some people in here can't do it. That's what I'm saying.
Not everybody's like you.
Exactly. So the question is asking you to find the what? How much work? So our formula is work equals F times D. And I don't typically write the triangle because most people know at this point that the triangle means to subtract if there are two distances. If you don't have two distances, do I need to write the triangle? No, so I just don't. So we're looking to find our what? How much work? So that means we got to have force and distance in the question. This one's an easy one for most of us because we've already learned how to find force, and we know force is a what unit? Force is a Newton. Well, what are our Newtons up there? 200, so we put it in for the F. And what's our distance? 8.5. So all we have to do to find the answer is multiply. 1,700. Now, when we find work, work is a new unit for us. And so every time we calculate work, we put a what unit on it? We just write J. Okay? Now, if you had written NM, I would certainly not mark it wrong, but you're more likely to see J or joules on the exam or on my test than you are Newton meter. You're not likely to see that. Now, just to show you something that's slightly different. All right. If you had this one and you wanted to know how far, what is how far asking you to find? It's asking you to find the distance. Okay. You want me to work this one, my Jay? Do you want me to work this one?
Mhm.
Okay. I'll give you a minute to write it down since you are.
Mhm.
For those of you who are like Markel and don't need it, then don't write it, okay?
Why is that? Why is it running?
Because you were the one over there going, it's common sense a second ago.
No, I didn't say, I didn't say it's common. I didn't say it was sense.
Okay.
And even if she did say your name, she wasn't insulting you.
No, I was not insulting you.
So I don't know why you're getting defensive.
Are you still cleaning your phone?
Where did you take your phone?
That's what I'm thinking. Do you take it to the bathroom or something?
I mean, I'm just cleaning it. Man, I can't maintain my stuff. That's like someone getting an oil
Why
change.
not one
That's like
side?
someone getting an oil change. You saying, why are you doing that to your car?
No, dude, a while ago it was maintaining your stuff. Now it's becoming obsessive in the middle of class.
It's
You
just
need-
those just those smudges.
Okay, you need to focus on what we're doing at the
I'm
moment
focused.
and not cleaning your stuff.
Don't worry, I'm focused. I got it. I was just waiting for y'all to start. Because it's still right.
I'm done.
Okay, so what are we solving for now, Janet?
Huh?
What are we solving for?
Okay, we're solving for.
If it says how far. So that would be distance, okay? So work equals force times distance, so we're looking for distance. So which one would be the work?
500. Wait, yeah, right.
Because it says joules, good. All right, what would be our force?
20.
All right, so how would you find the distance?
We'll divide
By,
20.
so you divide by 20 here, divide by 20 here. Somebody tell me that's 25.
It's 25.
All right, and what unit will we put on a distance? Did you hear Diabion? Meters, yeah. 25 meters. So we feel okay with that? Yes? All right. So. Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give you 8, I think it's 8. It's 8 or 9 pictures. And I want you to tell me, first of all, if work is done. If the answer is yes, I want you to calculate your work. If the answer is no, I want you to write no work. Okay? So you got to figure out, is work done? Joseph, you want one?
So quiet.
No. Go, Joseph.
When I scream your name, don't be mad.
Right on screen.
I think he's asleep. He's just faking it over there and playing possum. All right, so like in the first, if you're a crane and you're lifting a bolt, what direction is the force going? Okay, so the direction is up. All right, the force is going which direction?
No.
What direction is the force going if the crane's going up?
Up.
The force is going up. So the direction's up, the force is up. So are we doing work?
Yeah.
Yes. So since it's a yes, I want you to calculate the work. Okay? And I want you to do that for all the remaining 7. Figure out if work is done, and then I want you to figure out the answer. Yep, I can. Let's do. All right, so the arrow is the direction. That is the force that she would be using. So if she jumps up, would ballerina's force also be going up with her direction? If she jumps up.
Yeah.
Yes. Or you could argue like you did, that what's pulling her back down?
Either way, yeah.
Pretty much, because her direction is up and her force will still be parallel. Because when you say her force is the fact that she's pushing herself up off the floor Brad is pointing back down. They're forcing the direction of the parallel in that example.
So this one's the one that we should not know that.
It's not parallel, they're correct. What direction is he going? What direction is this force? Is the force going the same direction as the arrow? Have you ever pushed low grass before? You push forward. Your force is forward. So the direction of the force will be the same there. I really don't try on grass.
Wait,
What?
can you come here, please?
Whole one time.
Okay,
Like mine.
so,
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like.
Have you ever jumped in the air before, even if you're not a ballerina or a dancer? Does your force go up when you jump in the air? Yeah, that's work. Yeah.
So is this all?
Yeah. As well? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not one.
So that'd be right.
Okay. And you don't know.
Yep.
It's always right. And it's like, they put it on something.
The question is,
Yeah.
Probably.
Is that right?
That is going down. That
Is
is.
it?
Tyler, you got done?
I don't know. That's what it looks like.
You what? What number you on? Really, you're on 2? We did 1 together. Or if you jump up in the air, what direction's the force? What direction is she going? What's the arrow showing? So if the force is up and she's going up, are they parallel? So calculate work. What direction is this force? Okay, what direction is it going?
I don't know, a little bit. Like,
So they're parallel.
That's me.
I need some water.
Yes, you may. Who else has a question?
Can I get some water, please?
I suppose, just not at the same time.
I'm done.
Okay, we're gonna go over here in just a second.
I think she knows.
Anyone else? Question over there?
Yeah, why you got a whole bag of bread that you look at? What are you talking about? Right there.
You were just being nosy.
It was the open.
Does this look like bright tea?
Oh, it is.
Why would you call it a bag of bread anyway? It's most of it.
What is
They have
it?
one stuff.
What is it? Is it?
Yeah, I do, well, let's take full over that.
No.
Just eat bread by itself. Well, you can eat bread by yourself. I know, just like the straight up loaf, nothing else. Some people do.
Have y'all ever put peanut butter on waffles?
No.
I'm putting chili on waffles.
Yes, sir. No, you hadn't done anything for me all day. And that's the reason that I said no to the water. You do some work for me, I can do some things for
No,
you.
it was good. No, like we have one of the, the grills that like you put it down, so like it was like.
You put this little
So
tiny
you-
car
so
on.
you technically grilled waffles.
Huh?
So you technically grilled waffles.
Yes, we grilled the waffle.
Is it like a real waffle or did you get like,
No, it's like
Official waffle.
like we took frozen waffles.
that's what I was wondering, were they frozen waffles?
Yeah, and we put cheese in it, in between two, and then grilled it like a grilled cheese.
Oh.
That sounds
I get a
good.
waffle maker, I thought that was.
They're creative.
That sounds
But
good.
it was good.
They make waffles like
I might try one when I'm on
from biscuits, you know.
Look at my I got. Bro, just ask Caleb about it.
I never tried it.
That's good. Spicy chicken.
Oh,
you done?
It's like sweet to the waffle and it's spicy.
You know you got some
They give you this weird cinnamon. It's like butter with cinnamon in it.
I get the spicy chicken
I
with
saw that
honey
lady.
on it. I get the
Spicy one.
I
Time
never
to
tried
start
it.
eating.
All right, let's talk about some answers.
Now I'm hungry.
Cold too.
So, number one should be 500,000 joules. Number two, did we do work?
Yeah.
Yes, jumping up in the air is work. Your force is up, your distance is up. So you get 360. Number three, pushing a lawnmower. That's really hard work, by the way, if you do not have a powered mower. All right, 2,400 joules. Carrying the child, 2,400 or 2,400. You can say it either way. Carrying the child. No, that is no work. Number five, dragging the sled. Yes, that is work also. You're going forward and your force is going forward. So 87,500 joules. Number six, climbing the rope. Yes, your force is up, your distance is up. So that will be 4,200 joules. Yes, they did. Once upon a time, I had to climb a rope. I was skinny. I was skinny. People, I wasn't always as
I'm glad
big.
they don't do that no more.
Why don't?
Why don't?
I assume it's a liability issue if one of y'all fell from the rafters in the gym and hit the gym floor. It would be a problem.
I thought they had
It would be.
that, so I could-
I don't really remember having a mat under me when I climbed the rope.
So they just be like, well,
How far you can go?
We usually have to go to the rafters in the gym. I remember doing that in middle school and high school.
I'd fail, bro.
Remember, I'm 49. Y'all are how old?
I'm 16.
Okay. So I've got you by 32 years. All right. So back then we didn't worry about children falling from the rafters in the gym, apparently. All right. Number seven.
That was gonna be fun.
Is there work involved? Yeah.
Wait, where?
The pulley system.
Oh, yes.
Yes, there is. Okay. The force is up and the direction is up. So you get 735. Now, that's actually a simple machine, and we're going to talk about it next. Simple machines go with power and work. It's our next topic. All right. And I hope none of you ever have to do number 8. Is that work?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Okay. All right. So, who you need, my dear? Sienna, who you need? Next time, ask me, not him.
This wasn't planned. I didn't know about it either.
All right. So, pushing a car is work. You go forward and the direction is forward. All right. It does take a lot of work. That's why I said I hope none of you ever have to do that. And it's 120,000 joules. Okay. So I hope none of you ever have to do that one. All right. So the second thing we have to calculate in our lab is power. So you're going to find your work tomorrow, hopefully, climbing stairs and rolling a brick up a wooden dowel, which Miss Wall can't do anymore. I used to be able to, but I can't get my wrist to work right with the dowel. You'll see how bad it is tomorrow when I demonstrate. All right. So we're going to calculate our power. I can't get my hand on it to do. I mean, I can. It's just really slow. All right. So what is power? All right. Power is defined as the rate at which work is done. Now, what do I mean when I say the word rate? Okay, because that's a really nice definition. Sounds real sciencey. That's the word I wanted right there. Okay? So we're looking at how fast work is done. Or you can think of it as the amount of work done. Okay? So, how fast you get work done is your power. So, when we say how fast, what has to be in this formula to know how fast something is? Time. So, tomorrow, when we do the steps or we do the wooden dowel, those of you who do it fast are going to have more power than those of you who do it slow. Okay? So, I'm not telling you that you have to run up the stairs. You can do it like an old lady. And take 18 seconds to go up 13 stairs. It's more than 13 stairs. I think it's 21 if I remember right. Okay? But you can take 15 seconds to climb those stairs. Your power is going to be tiny. Or you can do like some folks, and they race to see who can do it. And some people can climb it in about 6 seconds. Your power will be much greater if you do it fast. Okay? Now, some people just go up a little leisurely, and that's fine. So, how are power, speed, velocity, and acceleration related? All right, let's think about it for a second. What's the formula for speed? Okay. What's the formula for velocity? All right, what's the formula for acceleration? And power is the one we're getting ready to talk about. We haven't done that formula yet, but what do you think is going to have in common looking at those three? They all have time. Okay? They all have time. Or they're all rates. All right, you caught up with me or do I need to wait? You there? All right, so what's the formula for power? Something with time. All right, power is defined as work over time. All right, let me look to make sure I write the same way it's on your card. Power equals W. I thought it had that. All right, so they write it on your sheet as power equals W over triangle T. So again, what does a triangle mean? That's right. Subtract if there are two. So am I going to write the triangle in front of the T all day? No. All right? Now, here's the downside to this. It's the unit for power. All right? The unit for power is a watt, which is abbreviated as a W. Now, what do you think my students get that confused with? Yep. But it's a watt. Okay, so when you see it written as 50W, if it's at the end of a number, that means it's a unit. Okay? When you see it at the end of a number, it tells you it's a unit. It doesn't mean that it's work. So when you see that W behind the number, that's a unit. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay.
But isn't work spelled with J though?
Yes, it is. But people see, I don't know, people see the W at the end of a number and they automatically want to stick it in for work. Okay? Because work is W. It just happens that way every semester, Nigel. I don't know why. It just happens. It'll happen this semester too, I'm sure. All right. So let's solve. Now, that one's pretty easy. Let's do this one. Nah, let's do this one. All right. I skipped the easy one because there's probably no point in doing an easy one. So I picked one that had a little more meat to it. Okay? So now Jaya won't be happy with me. Okay?
Thank you.
Dang, bless you's fake.
No.
Everybody else.
It's real.
I thought it was being polite.
Not him.
Not me.
Oh,
He's talking about everybody being the same.
you come here.
No, you can't. This is common sense, remember?
Ah,
One of the
so who were you mad at? Because he said bless you.
Everyone but him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was just a joke.
Oh, okay. I was like, he said bless you. Why?
Tell him no, it's common sense.
Is that the answer?
No, it's not. It is. I'm saying. That's right. Sequence.
Oh yeah, I'm sure what I did. I'm sure.
Ooh, Miss Law, I think I got it.
Look.
I ain't scared.
Yeah.
Is this it? Wait a minute. Is this it?
That.
Probably. I'm going to.
Oh my God.
Yes.
This is how I did it.
Okay, so what
Interesting too.
I'll see to it.
Yeah, I think that's right. All right. So, what am I asking you to find? I'm asking you to find force. All right. What formula is force in? The only formula we've learned today that has force is work equals force times distance. Yes, that's true, but we're not working with that formula today. Guys, let's backtrack. All right, so what's my work?
Wait. That's not
What's the unit for work?
J, and we
Do we have a J?
No.
Okay. Do we have a force?
No.
That's what we want, right? So I'm going to write F. And what's my distance?
30.
Okay, times 30. Now, I don't have enough information to finish solving, right? All right, so I need my other equation. So over here, I'm going to write power equals work over time. All right, what's my power?
Wait.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody's with me on 500?
Yeah.
All right, we already said we don't know work, so I'm going to write what?
W.
And what's my time?
10 seconds.
Okay, so how would I solve for work?
Cross one.
Okay, so 10 times 500 is 5,000. All right, so my work is 5,000. Now I can do what with that work? Use it right here. So now I'm going to put 5,000 right there. Now I'm going to do what to find my F? I'm going to divide by 30. And F is equal to what, Diavion?
166.6.
All right, and what unit does a force have?
In.
And that's what I put there. All right, we're going to do one more that's tricky. Just because Nigeria needs some tricky math in her life.
No, I had enough for years.
All right. All right, how much work is done when a 5 kilogram rock is thrown 10 meters? How much work is done when a 5 kilogram rock is thrown 10 meters?
Why not?
I just told you it was tricky math.
Well, I guess. But if you do work. Oh, no work. If you
Nope.
throw it
and it's going this way, and it's getting cool now.
Yeah, but the force is still that way.
You're still throwing it.
You're still throwing it. It's still working.
You're still doing working.
On the move.
But
Alright.
it's a rock.
What's my formula to do work?
Depends on if we're on the move.
All right. All right, we're solving for work. What's the force?
I mean,
No.
we don't have a force.
What'd you say, Nigella?
We don't have a force.
We don't have a force. What's my distance?
10.
So we don't have a force. That's the key to the question and the part that Nigel missed. We don't have a force. So we have to do what? We got to get a different formula and find force. So what's our formula to find force? F equals ma. So, what's our force? Well, that's what we need. What's our mass?
5.
And what do we do if there's no A?
9.8.
5 times 9.8 is 49. So now we can put 49 here, and work equals 490. And what unit goes on work? Yes. Questions?
I see how people get W and J.
Yes.
I see it.
Yeah.
I see it.
It's like I almost did it. But I was like,
It's easy to see the W and we'll write W at the end of it.
yeah. W is last. Oh.
All right, you there?
Yes.
All right. Just one more example. All right, so if we have, these are the 5 variables we've worked with today. Okay? These are the 5 variables we've worked with today. All right? Suppose I give you those 3 variables, and I want you to find the 2 missing variables. Okay?
Can I get a yellow sheet? Whatever color it is.
What happened to yours?
It's at home.
Yes.
I'll let you borrow one. You can give it back to me.
Yeah, I'll give it back. Thank you.
All right, somebody tell me what we should do first.
You should find white.
P equals.
All right, I hear we should find work first. All right, so what's the formula that we should use to find work first? All right, so tell me if these are our 2 formulas. All right, Grace said to pick this formula first.
Yes.
Why'd she say to pick this one
Because you
and
have-
not this one?
Because you have EN.
All right, when you look at the information that's provided, all right, we have power, which is 250. Work we don't know, and time is 5. If you had tried to use this one, work we don't know, force we don't know, and distance is 10. All right? If you plug in and you have 2 letters, can you solve if there are 2 letters? No, you have to have 2 numbers and only 1 missing letter. Does that make sense? So what's 5 times 250? 1250? All right, so work is 1250. What unit goes on that? A J. Now that I have work, now I can come back over here and put in my work is 1250. Force I need And then my distance is still 10. How do I solve for my force? I divide by what? Divide by 10. Divide by 10. Force is going to be 125. What unit goes on my force? A what? N for newtons is correct. Questions about how we do that?
No.
Feel okay about those topics?
Yes.
All right. I am not going to assign homework tonight because some of you I will not see tomorrow.